what I often see is that the narrative that is being driven by those in power is such that it's supposed to promote anxiety. It's supposed to engender a sense of helplessness, powerlessness. Like what can you do when Jerome Powell makes these grand proclamations about what the interest rate will be? What do you do when, the federal government allocates financial resources to one sector or away from one sector, or when countries go to war, and so on and so forth? What I do is I just lean into the precarity, into the uncertainty. Like, I'm 29 years old, so my entire life it has been like this. I've always been aware that the world is fundamentally unstable, especially coming from a low income single parent household. Yeah, like you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring necessarily. And I think there's an illusion of stability, an illusion of normality. And that's important. It's a control mechanism, right? It's important as a means of controlling the herd so that they continue to graze on grass and go about their work until they're melted down as glue, like Boxer in Animal Farm. Right? So that's the game, and we all know the game. But you just got to be like aware of how uncertain things are, and you got to move with a recognition and appreciation of the reality. Like a few days ago, I was at a barbecue and I happened upon an older gentleman, and we started talking back and forth, and it turns out that he had spent like damn near 40 years at IBM. He was retired at this point. He just like talked about how he enjoyed taking walks on the beach with his wife and traveling and living the good, easy life after 40 years of service at IBM. So this was at IBM like during its heyday, not, the IBM of today. And as he was talking, he's a fascinating character. I just thought about how who spends 40 years at a company these days? The people that are like just entering the workforce or who have been in the workforce for a few years, that's inconceivable. Like I myself have worked at three major companies that if I said them, you would know exactly which ones I was talking about. And at each company, I have experienced or observed layoffs, including the one I work at right now. My previous company I was laid off from, and the one before that, they had an annual layoff, and they sacked a senior business analyst on our team. And so that was like my first real introduction to corporate culture, right? Seeing this older woman who had given many years of service to the firm just being cut loose and sent off. And so for me, it was always like deeply ingrained psychologically that this is all temporary, that this is a money grab, that we're here to get what we need while we can and get out of Dodge before it hits the fan. So I think part of it is a natural human tendency to want to build culture and stability and a legacy. A lot of people who want to settle down, settle roots, get a home, chill. But that is becoming less and less a reality, an obtainable reality for the vast majority of working Americans. And I don't know if I want to say it's by design, but it's a consequence of a rapacious ruling class that continues to extract wealth at unbelievable levels. And, again, I'm no policy wonk. I haven't truly delved into the depths of these things, but just looking around, looking at the financial and economic precarity of people, looking at the rising costs of living, looking at just how tired and exhausted people are, a sort of sagging cultural production indicates a kind of exhaustion, right? People don't go partying like they used to. People aren't out clubbing. They don't do things. They're too tired. They're too broken down by their job or their jobs, most likely. right? It's all hustle, it's all grind. And see, the way it works is when you have power and leverage, you can see these things play out. And then you can, adjust knobs. You can, control the levers of power. And it's not like mind control, right? That's too specific. That's a lower level of granularity than is necessary to affect efficient control over a population. You just have to make people feel precarious and insecure, and you have to make them long for something, anything, security, connectedness. Oh, come to work every day, give us your best hours. We're a community here, we're family here. We'll treat you right, we'll take care of you. I was on LinkedIn last night just searching through jobs, and I came across the job post that was like, it was detailing like the responsibilities, and then instead of talking about compensation, they said, how will take care of you? How will take care of you? But the fact of the matter is, these companies will never take care of you. They only take care of their shareholders, right? The CEOs, the executives, the directors, they take care of themselves, and the shareholders. And the workers who are not involved in strategic decision making, who have not been exposed, who have not assumed any liability, right? Either downside or upside. They're just part of the machine. And you can say that I'm being cynical. You can say that that's really diabolical or dehumanizing, but that's just the way it is. I've been through 3 layoffs. And yeah, I'm 29 years old, but I was in grad school for a part of my 20s. I didn't really start working until I was down there like 26 years old. So almost every year I've been working, there have been layoffs. And I work in tech, So this isn't some field where you think, oh, it makes sense for there to be like consistent layoffs, for their seasonality or so forth. This is supposed to be one of the sexiest jobs, or at least was one of the sexiest jobs. But at the end of the day, there is no sexy job. A job is a job. It's a paycheck. And what you do with that paycheck in the time between you clock in and you clock out, that's what matters. That's what determines your trajectory. And I see way too many people just falling for the bullshit time and time again, getting distracted, getting caught up in culture war debates and clickbait and rage bait. Don't you understand that the preconditions of all of this are dissolving? If you did, you would move in a different way. Maybe some people do recognize that, and maybe they've just decided to give themselves to hedonism and pleasure in the final days of a declining empire. But I've committed to fight, not for the empire, not for the flag, not even necessarily for myself, although I am for sure fighting for myself and my future, but fight for the possibility of a positive hustle. Fight for the possibility that there is a community of people out there who recognize the bullshit, who are willing to put in the work to realize a beautiful future, and who don't want to step on anybody's shoulder or back or head on their way to success. A kind of ethical grind. And so yeah, that's what I'm committed to. And I think you should be committed to that too. Especially if you're out here in the mix like me, trying to find a way forward, trying to convert credentials into capital. So yeah, stay sharp, stay aggressive, recognize the game, and learn to play it. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say for today. Please, if you enjoyed this, if it inspired you, if it fired you up a little bit, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.